get set for the start of the Unlimited Lights Final. Some of the best racing we've seen all year has been in this category, Steve.
The Alamo team with that new 2-speed transmission has been very tough in the preliminaries, but look at the start here by Tommy Thompson in the Country Boy. He's way outside, but making a great start. And Bo Scheid in the Alamo, they're in the middle of the field.
3 times around a 1 2/3 mile course for these Unlimited Lights. They are automotive-powered boats, and they make a great noise and terrific competition. Here's an example of it right here.
Now, at some point in that turn, the Alamo has shifted into low. Bo Scheid just pushes a button on the steering wheel. Look at this move right there. That's almost unfair. We're going to see this in all the boats if they want to be competitive. Tremendous low end.
There is the Country Boy, Tommy Thompson driving, and Bo out to the lead as we split the screen and go on board the Alamo.
At some point, just about mid-race course, he shifts into high. But look now, here comes the Miss Leroy, Randy Haas. Where did he come from? Suddenly, he's challenging the Alamo at the top end of the race course when Bo is in high gear. So that's a bit of a surprise right there.
Now as we come down the front straightaway, Bo starts to open it up. This Miss Leroy, by the way, is the Haas family's older boat. They've got a brand new one they expect to debut at the San Diego races, but they've got that one going pretty well here in Madison.
Their new boat, pretty much a copy of this one, a Jamie Alt hull coming out of Canada. It will be a lot like the Alamo. The Haas family, very good engine builders, and they are likely to step it up a bit when they get that new boat in San Diego.
2 views once again of the Alamo and from inside the Alamo. A boat that is not in this final, unfortunately, came all the way from Kelowna, British Columbia. StormTech Canada presents MissVino.com. Mike McClellan, the guy from Kelowna, who brought his 2 brothers into crew for him, but they had difficulty in the opening heat and could not make the final. How much does Mike love hydro racing?
Mike McClellan has a son named Madison, named after the town that was one of his favorite races. As a youngster, you know, he'd like to be running here.
He is not, but the spirit of Kelowna is with him as we take a look at Mark Webber driving the Apex Industries along with Tommy Thompson and the Country Boy now closer to you. Apex on the inside, trailing well behind this boat, Bo Scheid and Alamo.
This Ohio River race course, a little bit narrow for the Unlimiteds, a little bit narrower than their ideal race course. A very good shape for the Unlimited Lights and pretty good water for the smaller boats as well.
Bo Scheid and the owner, Ned Allen, who is the also interim commissioner right now of Unlimited Hydroplane Racing, decided to come here and do some testing, having wrapped up the points championship already. Looks like the testing is being passed, Steve.
Well, they're testing the 2-speed transmission. We had heard talk years ago of some Italians experimenting in boat racing with a transmission. Now you start to wonder, John, if everybody is going to have one in order to run with the Alamo.
Apex Industries boat, Bob Larimore boat, has yet to finish a final this year. This would be nice if Mark Webber could get it done. Driving again this week in place of brother Steve. Here's Randy Haas in the Miss Leroy. Close behind, but not close enough, the Alamo, which now is officially our winner of the Unlimited Lights race on the Ohio River in Madison, Indiana for 1998. Miss Leroy, Randy Haas, a terrific job of driving second. And guess what? Mark Webber has done it, taking third in the Lights final in the Apex Industries. Unfortunately for Butch Nace, he is not able to finish. Charlie Wiggins in high pressure, coming in 4th here. And here is the guy who puts the pressure on everybody else, Bo Scheid. Little victory lap for him in the Alamo. Your winner once again. He's getting about as used to the winner's circle as Dave Vilwalk in the Budweiser in the Unlimiteds. So Alamo first, Miss Leroy is second. Apex Industries getting it done. Then High Pressure and Country Boy. Let's go to Steve and Bo.
Well, how about that 2-speed? I got a feeling you like it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's working pretty good. It stuck in once. I lost my radio contact, and my mirrors weren't really just right, so I wasn't sure. Duff always calls and tells me where people are, and I wasn't sure, so I just gave it a good, comfortable wide and was trying to transmission out, and I don't know where I ended up, but we brought it back in one piece.
You ended up in 1st place.
Well, I knew we were ahead, but I didn't know how far. Normally, Duff will tell me and give me a readout. After about 30 seconds, I just couldn't hear anything. So I just gave the boat a ride and let nature take its course.
Well, we'll see you out west.
Okay, thanks.
Now it's the Unlimited final. A little wink from Mark Evans, the Pico American Dream. He is 3 for 3 in heats. So is Dave Vilwalk in the Budweiser. And here's Dr. Ken Muscatel making his way out to his boat, the Northwest Unlimited. Steve caught up with Dr. Ken during the last break. We're going to leave you now with his comments on the position he has in the final here in Madison. Those finals coming right up.
Well, Doctor, we commented before the heat that you'd had a kind of a tough time with the draw. Now the turn of events appears to have put you in the front row for the final.
Yeah, we feel very fortunate. Consistency pays off in the Las Vegas Ralph's Unlimited Tour because you've got to be able to perform when you're called to the curtain. So we did it, and I'm happy. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. I think today we're a little more lucky than good.
Welcome back to Ralph's Thunder Tour, presented by Las Vegas, the Budweiser Indiana Governor's Cup on the Ohio River in Madison, Indiana. John Nicholson with Steve Montgomery getting set for the finals here. Mark Evans and the Pico American Dream, the first boat heading out onto the water for the final. 3 heats, 3 wins so far for Mark. The same story for Dave Villwalk and the Budweiser. A different story for this boat, the Freddy's Club. Steve David, the driver. Just 4 weeks ago in Seattle, one of the scariest moments we've seen, probably the scariest this year. Around the far turn, Steve got light and over the boat went. Of course, we now know just a broken toe for Steve David. Some very serious damage for the boat. Brooke Tyler, the 4th here, crew member, looking up, working on the assessment. How bad was it? Could they get it fixed in time to race here in Madison? One of the first things Steve Montgomery checked when he got here.
Jim Harvey's racing team is based way up in the Northwest in Seattle, Washington, but a couple of the key members of the team are from Massachusetts. Brooke Tyler III has been with Jim for several seasons now, but I want to talk about the 4th, your son. He was in on this 3-week thrash, and I imagine he could use some sleep.
They've had an awful lot of work out there in the Seattle boat shop. I'd get to the office on the East Coast and be in the office at about 10 o'clock, and Brooke would call me and say, hi, well, we're just going to go to bed now, and I'd started my day, and this was day after day, 7 days a week. So the boys that were out there really did a heck of a job putting it back together.
He's been doing this virtually all his life.
Started as a little kid in diapers, and it worked his way up, and then we had to take a few years off in the late 80s, early 90s. He went to school, finished up with school, and wanted to come back, and Jim had an opening for him, so he came back.
Jim, that's a long thrash to get from where you were to here, huh?
Well, that was probably the longest 3 weeks that we've experienced in repairing a boat. It's like starting a winter project and ending in, in May before the season starts. We did in 3 weeks, so.
Any concerns about any changes that you might have made in the boat?
No, we just hope that all the seams are strong enough and that we don't open any of them up.
It floats.
That's the start.
But there's more. This update just moments ago from Steve.
The good news for Steve David and Jim Harvey and the Freddy's Club Prime Star boat that they had made the final heat was followed immediately by some concern here when they discovered a crack right behind the repaired section. Jim Harvey, can you tell us the prognosis here? How bad is it?
Well, it's not bad. It's just broke the outer cloth. The inside is still attached. It's a design in the repair that I made a mistake in, and we can correct it in Seattle, but this will be strong enough to hold it for the final heat.
Talk about your hard work. Talk about your confidence in your crew. There goes Steve David now heading out onto the water to race in the final here in Madison. Today's Alamo Almanac is brought to you by Alamo Rent-A-Car. It's drive happy time again. Ready, set, go.
When you mention the Miss Madison racing team, racing in Madison, the locals, at least the old-timers, think back to 1971. The Gold Cup contested the July 4th weekend right here on this same Ohio River racecourse, the familiar bridge in the background, as the fire-breathing, piston-powered monsters thunder down the front straightaway. That's an early edition of the Miss Budweiser. On your right, the yellow Miss Madison in the foreground, driven by Jim McCormick of nearby Owensboro, Kentucky, the late Jim McCormick. And this boat, the Atlas Van Lines, driven by Terry Sterrett, had a very good day, winning several of the preliminary heats. The Madison, in the meantime, also doing well. A second place, a first after another boat was disqualified, another second place, and that set up a dramatic final heat. Coming out of the first turn, McCormick, a dramatic move to the inside, and the Madison went by the favored Atlas Van Lines, opened up a big lead, drove to victory and into the history books. Jim McCormick and the Miss Madison, the 1971 Gold Cup champions, right here in Madison, Indiana, as some of the 13,000 residents who were also owners of that boat looked on. Terry Sterrett would take second in the Atlas Van Lines 2. Miss Budweiser finished third. The celebration that started that day in the pit area really has never stopped, as the old-timers here still want to talk about the 1971 Gold Cup.
The Alamo Almanac has been sponsored by Alamo, where renting a car is fun. Let Alamo put you smiles ahead with drive-happy deals and services.